I just wanted to provide you with a bit of a case study about how our school has been trying to support the staff with remote teaching. So like many schools, we have what's called a teaching and learning model, which is basically categories or areas of pedagogy that evidence and professional experience tells us are really important. So down the left there, nothing surprising: questioning, challenge, literacy. You're going to see that in most schools, right, if they've bothered to write a teaching and learning model. And like many schools, ours is quite informed by cognitive science now. So if you look at the "what is it in brief" column, you'll see a lot of stuff from things like Rosenshine and cognitive load theory. Again, this isn't going to be unique to Notre Dame. But what we've done, which you might find interesting, is we've asked teachers to prioritize what they do through remote teaching. So we've adapted our teaching and learning model for remote teaching and provided lots of guidance for staff. We're encouraging our staff to reuse videos that are already out there and resources that are already out there if they align with the curriculum we teach and they're high in quality. We've got to play clever. We shouldn't be just doing bespoke content all the time just for the sake of it. That is ego, and it's the route to overload of workload. And I'm sure all of you are tired if you're teaching right now, as am I. We are encouraging our teachers, where they do need to record their own, to pre-record using a free product called Loom, rather than do live sessions. Although, I'll be honest with you, live sessions we are now starting to use because our year 10 and year 12 are coming on site. So we're revisiting this now to sort of say, well, we may as well record what we're doing on site, and that therefore is live streamed because, well, that's kind of being forced on us. So let's merge the face-to-face contact with the remote teaching so it all sings together. In terms of assessment, we've asked our teachers to prioritize that they are assessing effectively. And we're trying to do that through tools like Google Quizzes and Google Assignments. And we're trying to do that at a class group level at the moment rather than individually, partly through workload, partly through a lack of evidence that written feedback really has much effect. It certainly has a lot of workload implications. We're encouraging our staff to use products that are out there that work for them if they have them to do that assessment. So for example, Caboodle and Seneca have a lot of built-in assessments. Let's use them. And we're leaving it down to subject teams as to the frequency of assessment because they know best. To help our teachers manage their workload, we're asking them to post the work at a whole year group level on a weekly basis, but the assessment occurs at a more granular level. And then the feedback we're giving at the moment is driven by those whole class formative assessment pieces. So in theory, there's no marking because you can just record your feedback like this. And finally, yeah, already discussed that. We're trying not to force teachers to use specific technologies as much as possible. We're trying to go with this idea that it's the quality of instruction, not the medium it's delivered through. So upskilling teachers so that there are a range of technologies they can use to get their teaching across and not being too prescriptive. Because what works in science, which is where Nikki and I work, as teachers may be very different to what works in English. And again, this is far too detailed to go through, but I guess we can share the slides with you afterwards via Kate. We've provided quite a lot of guidance for our staff on how we think we need teachers to be operating when it comes to remote delivery. And that's rather voluminous, so I'm not quite sure why I put that in there. But like I said, if we share the slides afterwards, or if you watch this recording, you can pause it on this screen. You may or may not find that guidance useful. There's lots of guidance. That's just a summary of tips we've developed. Okay, so just to summarize before we move on to the next rapid evidence assessment headline from the EEF about remote teaching. In our school, work is set weekly. We give staff a choice of medium to work through. And we are encouraging staff to do pre-recorded video explanations and feedback because we recognize students like that sense of connectedness, but we're not mandating it because all our teachers are in very different places in terms of home working dependents at home, health, etc. Okay? And yes, as we move forwards, we're trying to blend the face-to-face on-site support with the remote teaching rather than one relegating the other or one duplicating the other.